What's up, guys? Welcome to the Start Today podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cavallini. Today, we got a good episode for you. And I want to first off just welcome us back.
Yeah.
We've been on temporary hiatus. It's been a few weeks since we put out a podcast. But nonetheless, I've had a bunch of shit going on. For lack of a better term, I don't feel I need to really go into any sort of intimate detail with that. But people should remember that I am not a podcast host by trade. I actually have a real business that has some real problems that need to be solved sometimes, and that's just the name of the game, man. In business and life, you got to solve problems to get ahead.
You do.
So it's been taking a lot of time and energy, but yeah. I mean, look, let me just I apparently have forgot the proper etiquette, which is a good segue for today's episode, but I have failed to introduce my co-host. I guess it's been too long. Guys, in the building, the man, the myth, the legend, Rick Schaff. Rick.
Hey, everybody.
What's happening, bro?
Well, just still waiting for things to unfold to determine kind of the best thing to do.
To determine the path.
Yeah. Everybody's a lot of people are stuck in limbo.
Yeah.
Waiting to see what happens with the election, the virus, and blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting, being here in Florida, in Tampa where we live, and we have it so good.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you live in America, you have it good, but taking a kind of closer look at that, I was in California a couple of weeks ago and kind of got a taste of the political climate out there. And, it's completely different. I mean, everything
is night and day.
It's night and day. It's like you're in a different world.
Yeah.
And I was very proud of the Gold's Gym in Anaheim, California, because they shut gyms down in Orange County. But a couple Gold's Gyms out there called like an extreme audible and basically moved all of their equipment into their parking lot under like a pop-up tent,
kind of
like a circus style outdoor temporary tent. And really, really awesome, gives the good people of Orange County some options, being that they closed all the other gyms. They still, even though it's, considered an outdoor environment, it's a like a tent overhead, and it's kind of like chain link fence around. You were still required to wear masks during training, which again, for us, I mean, some people listening to this and be like, yeah, I mean, we've been doing that for, 8 months, however long. But for me, man, it was just a weird thing. And it's funny because I used to train with an elevation mask sometimes.
I think about that when I wear my mask sometimes. Like, it's kind of something similar in a way, right?
It's much worse doing this because you don't want to.
No.
So it's a different thing. But, nonetheless, look, it is what it is. We got to focus on what we can control and just do our best. Keep taking the productive action needed to make the best out of this in any situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all you can do, right?
If you got to train with a mask on, I feel for you.
Yeah. I mean, look, just look at it as an opportunity to like make the training harder. It makes it much more uncomfortable. That's kind of what I had to keep reminding myself because it's a bitch. I mean, it's like tough to me. If you're training hard and exerting yourself, naturally you're going to be out of breath and short of breath, and the mask kind of just adds to it. But, it's, if you're fortunate to be in a place where, you still get to train regardless mask or no mask, like just understand how good you have it. Because there's people, not just in this country, but all over the world where gyms are just locked down with no light at the end of the tunnel in sight.
Yeah. It seems to be getting a little worse in some areas now.
Yeah, the sanctions and the restrictions and such can't really say the virus is getting worse. But nonetheless, look, we got a good episode today. I'm excited about this because today's episode is something that I think a lot of people are going to get value from. A lot of people are going to learn a lot from. And quite frankly, a lot of people need, because it is stunning to me how rude and just shitty people can be as far as the way they like approach, like speak to, address. It's weird to me that, in a 2020 kind of technical world, a world, where social media is prevalent and, you get the messaging and stuff. It's weird to me, man, the way people sometimes, and this is by far the minority, right? It is not the majority, but the way people like address me, and like when they're asking or attempting to ask questions, like they're just very rude. And it just seems that they don't really understand the importance of proper etiquette, good manners, and overall how to conduct yourself like just a good human being.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when someone does, they stand out, which is odd.
Absolutely.
And they shouldn't, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the fact is, if you're doing these type of things, on social media, it's a good indication of how you're living your life in other ways. And the fact is, good manners, proper etiquette, just being somebody of a strong moral character, like it is 100% going to make your life significantly better, personally, professionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's just going to do so many good things for you. And I'll tell you, like, I don't know a successful person, and I know a lot of successful people. I don't know one that doesn't display good manners and proper etiquette.
Yeah.
It's just something that a lot of people, I don't know, maybe that they haven't been taught or exposed to, but you can't use that as an excuse, because it's your responsibility to proactively figure out the shit that you need to figure out to improve and to make progress. Mm-hmm. And like, you got to know, like, look at the circumstances of your life. If you have areas that you want to improve on, the fact is you have to put in the work to do that. But I will tell you, like, a universal, I guess, a universal step forward, regardless if we're talking about personally, professionally, with your personal relationships, professional relationships, if you demonstrate good manners, proper etiquette, and just an upstanding moral character, you will attract significant more opportunities into your life, and your quality of life overall will be better.
I agree.
So we're going to talk about that, guys. We're going to talk about the importance of displaying good manners, having world-class levels of etiquette, and just being the best person that you can be. We're going to talk about why it's important. We're going to go into examples in the personal sector, in the professional sector. We're going to go into very tangible action steps that you can take to just kind of step your game up and to become a better person. And as we said, move forward, create more opportunities, and just kick more ass in life, as it were. But before we get into that, man, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to this intro segment of the show?
No, just that, again, to reiterate, when someone's very respectful and they have really good etiquette, it just stands out.
Yeah.
You just look like a rock star when you do that. So
yeah, well, think about that, guys. I mean, think about, when's the last time you can think of that somebody really made a good impression on you or really stood out? Someone, the way they carried themselves just was like, it's like, damn, yeah, that person's got something, and normally it's confidence, when you carry yourself a certain way, have proper manners, display good etiquette, that's normally an indication of high levels of confidence. And we know about how important confidence is. You got to have confidence if you want to win, right? There's nobody who's out there winning that lacks confidence. So with that said, the first thing, I guess, that is important and worth pointing out about today's topic is it costs you nothing to do it, right? Like, it literally is the easiest, most effective thing that you can do to literally take the next step on your personal development journey. Really quickly, let's just briefly go over the benefits of good manners and etiquette. A lot of this shit will be common sense. Some of the stuff maybe people wouldn't have thought of, but it's worth pointing out that, there's all kinds of benefits, okay? The way that you conduct yourself, all right, is going to allow you to attract new, higher quality relationships, opportunities, and it's going to improve your networking potential significantly.
Agreed.
And, a lot of you guys probably already know the importance of having a strong network. There's that saying, your network is your net worth, or equates to your net worth, or whatever the case is. And that's very fucking true. Look, I will tell you that I have grown our business, Nutrition Solutions, significantly. A significant amount of our success and growth and progress was a result of certain relationships that I'd created and nurtured, and that basically just evolved, personally and professionally. So again, you want to conduct yourself in such a manner where you attract quality across the board. Second thing, being kind, considerate, reliable, and loyal with your friends, your family, your coworkers, just the people that you come into contact with, in your life, it's going to create a reciprocal effect. Okay. So if you're someone who is a good person, who looks after other people, who's kind, who's empathetic, who's understanding, who just goes out of their way to, lift people up when they need it, the chances are you're going to have a lot of people in your life who are willing to do the same for you in the event that that situation presents itself. And, that's not a bad deal.
No. What's interesting too is one of my pet peeves is when I walk into a department store and people are like, hey, how are you? Boom, boom. But then you see them outside on their break smoking a cigarette and they don't even look at you. And it annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah.
But if you are that way to everybody, think about that outside of, when you're being paid and it makes, it seems, to be something that's critical. But if you're outside doing that outside of that area, man, that's when you really start to pick up, I think, and get ahead.
It's true. I mean, professional manners get positive attention, right? Like in the workplace, skills on the job are important, clearly. But knowing how to do the work obviously isn't the only thing that's expected of you or that's going to allow you to separate yourself from the pack and, grow within your professional organization. Adhering to a high professional standard of conduct, it's going to earn you respect. It's going to earn you respect, and it's going to get the attention of people, including your superiors. Okay. And that's probably going to make them like you. That's probably going to make them like you, which
it's a good thing.
Hopefully, and, will effectively contribute to promotions, raises, and considerations for new professional opportunities. Being kind, courteous, and thoughtful to customers increases sales. It helps improve retention. It's going to help you generate more referrals, and it's going to boost the overall reputation and credibility of your business. And with personal relationships, romantic relationships, I think that we can agree that couples that respect each other, that treat each other well, right? That demonstrate like good manners and proper etiquette to one another, not just in the beginning of the relationship, right? That maintain this throughout and keep a strong relationship. They have better relationships overall than, people who are, shall we call it, a lot less pleasant to be around and who are selfish or rude as
No, that's a huge one. If you want to really impress the person you're with, continue to open the door for them, the car door and things like that, and go out of your way. Those are huge points.
And it's going to just feel good for you as a human being. And again, you should want to continue to impress your friends, your significant other, your coworkers, regardless of how much time has passed, regardless how long you've known each other. Like, it's a good thing to want to go out of your way to impress somebody, to leave a good impression, to impress them, and also impress upon them just the importance of these behaviors that we're discussing today. And next item on the list, as far as the benefits of the before mentioned, knowing and using proper etiquette regularly can help improve your confidence. Okay, back to your point of the people who are, greeting you out in the store, and next thing you know, they're in the smoking cigarettes on their phone, not giving a fuck. If you're in the habit and develop the mindset of just demonstrating good manners all the time, you're not going to have to worry about like turning it on and off and whether or not, you say the right thing in a certain situation. Okay. It's going to come naturally to you. It just becomes part of who you are. And others are going to respect you more because of it. And you're going to feel that. You're going to notice it. You're going to observe that. And through that, respect develops and improves your confidence.
Yeah.
And having good manners is obviously going to benefit you in most areas of your life. But I think the best reason, the most compelling reason, the most significant reason to have good manners and demonstrate proper etiquette and just to be a good person is because it's just the right thing to do.
Yeah. And people, I'm telling you, they will remember you. I remember so many people because of those characteristics. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. He's just a super guy, super nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about some of those characteristics right now.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So we'll start off with personal. Okay. Some examples of demonstrating good etiquette and behaviors and just having manners, right? In a personal capacity. it starts with you and how you present yourself, right? Displaying positive facial expressions, smiling, right? Displaying and demonstrating confident body language, and just overall having a good attitude, okay? That's step one, okay? Good manners and proper etiquette starts with body language, okay? Carry yourself well. Carry yourself like the person you wish to become. Carry yourself like the people that you see that just radiate, exude confidence with every step that they take. Fake it till you make it, whatever the case is. The more you do something, the more instinctual it becomes. But you have to start somewhere. And, a lot of people say, well, I don't know, that's just not me. It's like, no, the people who do these things now organically, at one point it wasn't them. They made it. Yeah, they made a deliberate intention.
Choice, yeah.
This is an area that I want to work on. Brother, this is something that I had to work on. I used to get so much feedback from people back in the day, and they used to just tell me that, like, I just look pissed off all the time. Like I look just so serious and I never smiled. And honestly, like it used to bother me. Like it used to bother me when people would come up and say, hey, smile. Like I used to get annoyed. And, throughout the course of time and as I've kind of evolved, I started to really recognize that feedback that was bothering me. Well, the reason that it bothered me was because it was objectively something that I knew was true.
Yeah.
I needed to work on. So I started to proactively go out of my way to make sure that, like, I was standing straight, that I was attempting to look as confident as possible, that I smiled, that I just wanted to project good vibes. Because look, like the first impression that people make on you is predicated off your physical appearance.
And you only get one.
You only get one. You only get one shot at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it starts with that. Okay. Demonstrate confident body language, stand up straight, smile, be mindful. How do I look right now? How does my face look? What are these other people around here? What are they going to think of me based off their first impression of how I'm carrying myself? And if you need to make some improvements, make the improvements. All right. Second thing, say thank you. Obviously, this is a big one. Saying thank you, literally, those two words have the potential to change somebody's day, to change somebody's week, literally, like saying thank you, not thanks, right? Not sending in texts, THX and just being a lazy piece of shit. Saying thank you genuinely, right? With gratitude attached. You see thanks. You see a lot of older people saying this, people from other countries that don't speak English or that their English is their second language. It comes across as a formality. It comes across as very dismissive, very disingenuous. Thanks. There's just no real gratitude attached. We know how important, if you don't know how important gratitude is, go back and listen to the episode we did on gratitude. Gratitude literally has the power and potential to change anybody's life, and demonstrating more gratitude, even if you are someone who does a pretty good job of displaying gratitude, has the potential to bring about even more positive things into your life. Saying thank you is a very simple, effective opportunity to demonstrate gratitude, which is going to make you feel better and just be a good person. When I'm a couple of things that I do, if somebody comes to me, which this happens often, I meet people and they come to me and they share some story, some accomplishment, some success, whatever that they've experienced, or people at Nutrition Solutions, and they want to tell me about something. They hit a PR, or, they dropped a belt loop in the 30 days since they started.
Yeah.
I'm saying, hey, thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for telling me that. And I'm being genuine, because I do appreciate hearing that. I love hearing about other people's wins. I love winning, period. Whether it's my wins, other people's wins, it's all the same. I'm going to celebrate it all the same. But by doing that, it's going to demonstrate to that person that you care about what they have to say. And it's going to make them feel even more proud of whatever it is that, they're having to be proud about. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, I agree.
If you
simple thing that goes a long way.
Making people feel good is a very, very simple way to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
And it's not very difficult to do. When I'm leaving the gym, I'm always, every single time, regardless if they're busy with another member or, in the paperwork, whatever, I'm always say, hey, thank you. Have a good night. Like, they've done nothing for me. They maybe scan my card, right? But, it's just a way to demonstrate gratitude, a way to make an impact, and a way for people to kind of recognize you as someone who, holds himself to a higher standard, has class, and,
Right.
knows a thing or two about conducting yourself with respect. Another thing that is really important and grotesquely underrated is remembering people's names and calling them by their names. So this is something that I hear a lot, people saying, oh, I can never remember anybody's name, or I don't remember, it's like, dude, that's a choice.
Yeah.
If you want to remember somebody's name, you probably will. So what we have to recognize is people's names are very important to them. Okay, psychology tells us this. The sweetest sound to an individual is their own name. So when you're having a conversation with somebody you just meet, something that I like to do to increase the likelihood of me remembering that person's name is during the conversation, I'm going to try to use their name 3 times without coming across as excessive.
Yeah.
But it shows them that you're engaged. It shows them that you care. And it kind of, bypasses a step or two in the kind of gaining familiarity with each other. If you just meet somebody, but they come to you and they are interested in you, what you have going on, and you want to have a meaningful conversation with them. It's nice to have it feel like a little more intimate as opposed to like 2 complete strangers just having a conversation that doesn't really have any value or meaning attached.
Now, that's a huge one that I need to improve on, and
Me
I
too.
know it. It's just tough to remember a bunch of names.
Yeah.
But like you said, you have to take the time to try to do it. Typically, I make little rhymes up in my head with somebody, or I don't know, make a rock star name out of them, and to try to remember that.
Right.
Whatever it takes to help you remember it.
It's important, like, and I think by remembering how important it is to other people, that's kind of like the, intrinsic motivation to try to do a better job. And again, like, you're going to meet a lot of people, you're going to be introduced to a lot of people. Am I saying you need to remember everybody's names? No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, people that you work with, people that you come into contact frequently, the person's name at the gym, the person's name that works the checkout of where you drop off your dry cleaning, whatever. Going out of your way to address somebody by their name and say thank you is a very simple way to just literally make somebody's day and just be a better person.
Yeah, it makes them feel good, and it's
the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. Yeah.
So also, you want to introduce yourself to people in situations, in social situations. Go out of your way, not just, I think people think they need to just introduce themselves if they're like directly in front of somebody, whatever. No, go out of your way. Take a little extra initiative to introduce yourself to somebody and let them know who you are. That's a very impressive thing because you don't see it very much. Somebody to, like, when I go to, sometimes I have dinners that I'm invited to, whether it's an event or like a birthday dinner, and I know a few people there, but there's a lot of people there that I don't know. I always make it a point to go around the table and individually introduce myself to everybody if I can, right? And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing that because it gives me the ability to make a good first impression on the people that are there. And the chances are, like, if it's a dinner that I'm going to, there's probably people there that I'm going to want to connect with or network with or do some business with at some point.
Yeah, and that's another area that I definitely need to improve on.
What's that?
Because is introducing myself. I'm pretty good at it, but a lot of times, I don't know.
That's weird for you to say. I don't.
But a lot of times I'm caught up in whatever I'm doing. I'm thinking about it, and especially like even in a workplace like this.
Rick just dumped the Pellegrino. Are we good on the sound machine?
I think so.
All right.
But even in like situations like this, we have people coming and going, and sometimes I'm caught up in whatever I'm thinking about doing, and I don't take the time to stop. But it's something that it's really good advice and really important.
I appreciate you saying that. I don't necessarily agree with that assessment of yourself. To me,
Well, I can always improve, I guess.
well, of course, you're a social butterfly from my perspective.
Yeah, I am. But
Whether we're in the gym, here, like out and about, you're always caught up in conversation with the new people. Are you not aware of that?
Yeah, I talk to them, but I don't often say, like, I need to come up more and say, hey, I'm Rick.
Yeah.
and blah, 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 that kind of thing. I'll talk to them sometimes without doing that.
Yeah.
However, I always remember Tom Brady. He's famous for that. Hi, I'm Tom Brady. And people are like, Yeah. Hello. Like these
Yeah.
rookies that come in, they always say the same thing when they tell a story about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He comes up to me, I just walk in, they're like, "Hi, I'm Tom Brady." It's like, but it leaves a crazy impression on
Yeah.
them. And you can tell they always tell the stories the same
Yeah,
thing.
come
Right?
up, introduce yourself with a good vibe attached to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good way to just start a new relationship. Even if it's even if it's just a situation where you just exchange some, brief words, a very brief interaction, you don't know down the road what scenario or circumstance could come about to where that gesture literally was like the distinguishing factor between that person going and doing business with Joe whoever, or coming to you because they remember that. Little things go a long way. Speaking on things about needing to be improved upon, be on time. I am somebody, I'll just throw it out there, I'm not the most punctual person. A lot of people have a hard time believing that. Rick, I'm sure will have no problem validating that.
Yes.
For professional, like meetings and professional engagements, I'm spot on, but I'm not making any excuses. I'm preface with that. This has been something that like I've struggled with. Like, I'm telling them, hey, we'll train at this time, meet me there. And I'm like habitually like 10 minutes late for like the gym or dinner. And my out, as you could also verify, is when I'm late for dinner, I always offer to pick up the bill, which I would have done anyway, but I just throw it out there proactively as a way to kind of mitigate. But being on time is important in a personal capacity. It's essential in a professional capacity. But being on time, look people in the eye when you speak to them. All right, this is a great way to show respect to the other person, and also a way to improve your confidence. A lot of people have a hard time with this. A lot of people have a hard time maintaining strict eye contact. For some reason, it's unnatural for people to do that. And I think that's normally an indication of a lack of confidence.
Probably, yeah.
So look people in the eye. It's not difficult, and it's only awkward until it's not anymore. The more you do it, the less awkward it will become, if that's something that you're currently finding someone uncomfortable. Apologize if it's warranted, right? I always say that if you did something or your actions in some way, shape, or form caused another person to be impacted, even in the slightest, like apologize. It shows empathy. It shows that you're a pretty good person and that you're taking responsibility for your actions. Now, when it comes to professional capacity, we're talking about personal now. One of the things that I train my team to do is never apologize. Never say I'm sorry. Never apologize. Replace it with thank you. If somebody has some sort of issue, regardless what it is, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," or "We apologize," so thank you for bringing this to my attention. I really appreciate you being straightforward and direct, and this gives us the opportunity to not only rectify this, but perhaps prevent any further occurrences in the future with other customers, whatever. So thank you again. And that's a completely different vibe. And you're sending out different vibrations than when, someone messages irritated, pissed off, I mean, straight up enraged, which, happens.
Yeah.
And, you're basically just, "Oh, I apologize," and this, whatever. It's like, no, like, let's take control of that person's emotions at that point. And let's take them from a 10 down to a 6 by just saying thank you. Those two words are very, very powerful. And in that situation, you'll be surprised on just how impactful that it can be. I know that when, we train new people with this thought process initially, it's kind of like counterintuitive to what they feel is the right thing to do. And then when they do it and they see the reaction of the response, they get it. And they always, come back and say, "Man, thank you. Thank you for teaching us that." It's crazy. I never thought to do it like that. Like, yeah, I mean, these are little life hacks, little life hacks to do a little better and to be a little better. Small talk's important. You're good at that. You're very good at that. Making small talk, it's an important social skill for friendships, for creating relationships, and just, obviously can help you get and keep a job. Like, be somebody that people want to be around, or at a minimum, don't cringe to have to fucking be around.
Yeah. And when you do the small talk, make sure it's not about you all the time.
Yes. Great f***ing point.
Yeah, you got to find out about the people you're talking to. Listen to them. That's a huge sign of respect right there.
Yeah. The small talk, the small talk's essential because it shows other people that, wow, like this person actually like cares. And when you're speaking to them about things that are important to them, people love talking about themselves. They love talking about their accomplishments, their family, their kids, the things that they're into. And, you know, it's your responsibility to kind of steer them in that direction to kind of create that that dynamic within the conversation. And that was my last bullet, is ask question of others. And, you know, basically you showing interest in others makes them feel significant, gives you the ability to learn a little more about them, and just overall will just increase rapport, strengthen a friendship, a relationship, and just overall just put you in a better position to gain a better understanding of kind of, you know, what that person's about and what's important to them, which, you know, obviously can, you know, lead to other potential opportunities to explore in the future. We mentioned this earlier, but, you know, it's my next bullet here. Look for opportunities to compliment others.
Yeah.
Guys, go out of your way proactively, like a sniper. Like you're looking for any and every opportunity to make somebody feel good.
Yeah. And that's such an easy and a powerful thing to do. And I wish I did it more.
Yeah.
And I always say that to myself.
Me too.
Go out and compliment people, compliment them. Because sometimes, I don't know, we don't even think about it, but we do, but we just keep on going.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you see, oh, they look good. And
So on this list, I would say this is the thing that I feel I'm strongest in.
Yeah.
Because I recognize how important it is. And it makes me, first of all, it makes me feel good to make somebody else feel good. And it's just an excuse to put out like good vibes, man. You know, like complimenting females on their shoes. You know, they love that. Like, you know, if somebody has noticeably been taking care of themselves, they lost a little weight, even if it's a nominal amount, like positively reinforce that behavior, because, you know, not only is it the right thing to do and demonstrates that, you know, you're a good person, but it kind of validates the work and the efforts that they've taken.
And you don't want to lie about it. Like, you
Yeah,
don't want to make stuff up, but everybody can be complimented on something. And we always think about it.
Yeah.
But we just often don't say it. And I need to say it more.
Right. You absolutely, look, everybody can be complimented on something, and it's your responsibility to figure out what that is. But again, this is something that, you know, just like some of the other things we mentioned, it's probably not going to come organic. If you're not like this, if you don't go out of your way, if you compliment, like, you know, your sister or your mom or, you know, whoever is closest to you, that's great. We're talking about like overall, like just if you see an opportunity to compliment somebody, even if it's a stranger that might be sitting next to you who, you know, has a nice timepiece that catches your eye, like go out of your way to say that. Like you never know where that 2-second selfless compliment to a complete stranger, you never know the potential that has to create a meaningful relationship, partnership, just opportunity. And again, like you're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it with the intention of being a good person and making the other person feel good. But with that, you know, sometimes some good shit comes right along with it.
Yeah. And I'll say that we often will compliment strangers before our family. And we should also really consider that.
Yes. Good point.
Because we're around them all the time.
Right.
We take it for granted.
Yeah.
But it'd be really...
Yeah. When's the last time you told your wife or, you know, your long-term spouse that they were beautiful or handsome? People are like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Yeah. Well, look, if it's uncomfortable, that just means it's something you need to do. Because like making people feel good is such a simple thing to do. And if we were all like cut from this same cloth, and all, meaning collectively, you know, the thousands of people that listen to this podcast, if we all went out of our way to selflessly compliment other people and put those good vibes out in the world, and then they were conditioned to start doing that spider web effect, the impact that it will have in the world, I mean, it will literally make the world a better place. And that's how I look at these things. I look at these things as like opportunities to make the world a better place, because they are. And if you really quantify it and look at, you know, the impact our actions like have on others, like it's not only going to make them feel good. That dynamic, that gratitude, those feelings, they're going to want to recreate that on their own to other people. And then hopefully that person does that. And, you know, and look, like, here's the thing. If you compliment somebody and they don't give you like, I don't know, perhaps the response that you feel is warranted in that situation and you get upset about it, then you don't understand the things that we're talking about right now. Because I will tell you, there's a lot of times that you're going to go out of your way to be an awesome person, and people will not only respond in a way that is not consistent with said actions, but they might, later end up doing something really shitty. Yeah. But again, it is not about them. And to add to that, if we're talking about 100 times to 100 different people, maybe it's 1 out of 100 that responds in an unfavorable way, just because of whatever they have going on inside that you're also not aware of. Their problem is not with you. Their problem is with themselves. So let's, again, not focus on the one person who was shitty. Focus on, the 99 or so that whose day was made as a result of that interaction. Anything to add to that?
No, it's perfect, man. I agree.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
No, it
is. See, guys,
it is.
We lead by example. Rick just complimented me selflessly.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a beautiful thing. Another thing here that I believe is very, very important and something that's near and dear to me is be generous. Just being generous is an amazing and simple way to show other people that you care. And the funny thing is, it also helps you appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
And being generous, again, isn't something that applies to people who have the financial means of being like super generous, like being generous with your time, being generous with your energy.
It's relative.
Buying somebody a cup of coffee, right? Like you're with somebody picking up the bill, like that is a way to be generous. Yeah. And again, like, picking up the bill, maybe bring in coffee or energy drink. Sometimes I see them do it here. Mm-hmm. Someone will do that and bring it in for the rest of the team. Like, just be generous, right? Tip well. Yeah. Like, tip well. Do not be a cheap motherfucker. If you cannot go out and leave a proper tip, you should not be going out and having and eating out. Like, this is be a good human being type shit. And again, I will tell you, I know a lot of successful people, and it's pretty hard when I go out to dinner with my friends because there's always an argument at the end about the bill. But there are times that, friends of mine insist on paying the bill. And I've never seen a successful person not tip well.
I've heard about it, but I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what are you talking about specifically? Like some professional athlete or something?
Yeah. So, I mean, something like that, like you hear these stories, you're like, wow, really? It's so hard to believe.
But the people who are self-made, worked hard, who are just out there, just getting it, being successful in business, being successful in the community. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think that there is something that I think that's something that needs to be pointed out, because success leaves clues. There's always common characteristics and common denominators between successful people. And this is one of them. Tip well. And that looks different for everybody, right? Tip well as far as what you are capable of and what you can afford. Yeah. But not tipping is not an option.
I agree. And I have talked to waitresses and waiters about what they think a good tip is. Mm-hmm. And they typically say, man, if I get 15%, I'm happy.
So I think that, again, I don't want to get off track here. Like, I'm not going to give somebody an amazing tip if they suck.
Yeah.
I'll give them the 15% or 20%, right? Mm-hmm. But again, like, it's not necessarily about them. If they do an amazing job and they make the experience that much better for myself and whoever, is there with me, like, I want to take care of them. I want to take care of them for taking care of me. But again, I'm not going to not tip somebody because, they didn't do an amazing job. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe the day before they got the news that, their mother had cancer or somebody close to them passed away, or
they're working a double shift, and
any number of things. Someone was just super mean and rude and stiffed them on a bill. Like, again, I don't want to take anything personal if there's a bad interaction, and it is my moral responsibility. I feel if I'm going out somewhere where their gratuity is in the equation, I'm gonna fulfill my end, and I'm gonna tip, and hopefully they do a good job, because that just means I'm gonna tip better.
I agree. Cool.
Yeah. And look, last thing in a personal capacity that I bullet pointed here, but this also is 100% applicable, to, how to demonstrate what we're discussing here in a professional capacity. Just do your best. A very, very easy way to demonstrate good manners, good character, and just a solid moral foundation is to do your best with everything you do. And I think that ties along nicely with all the items that we've discussed so far.
No.
So segueing into professional bullets, professional, tangible, practical action steps that one can take, in the workplace in a professional capacity to demonstrate proper manners and etiquette. So I just had a study here that I looked up, and I thought it was interesting, but not surprising. The University of Florida did a study, and it was published in the Journal of Applied Psychology. And the researchers basically found substantial evidence that basic everyday rudeness in the workplace can spread through the work environment and contaminate the culture and hurt the morale of everyone involved in very short periods of time. Yeah. That is not a surprise. I've witnessed that myself with my own company, over the years. Years ago when we were working really hard to start to develop a culture, and we had to kind of change some things, implement core values, train people to really understand how to act and live and operate within the parameters of those core values. Not everybody wanted to be a part of that initiative. Not everybody wanted to step their game up and raise their standards to act in accordance with that. And, bad attitudes, especially in nutrition solutions, which is an overall very positive working environment. When you have people in there, or even a person in there that, is even slightly negative or complains or make excuses, it stands out like a sore thumb just due to what all else is happening, and it hurts morale. And I don't one of the things, business is stressful enough, it's hard enough. One of the things that I made a decision to do, a long time ago, is to make sure the people within my organization were people that I liked. Yeah. I don't want to have people in this organization that don't contribute to the culture, that to add to the vibes. Because you're either basically taking or giving. Yeah. Right? We want our company to basically be like a beacon, a lighthouse of good vibrations. We're sending out good vibrations, and we need to make sure that the people within are also doing the same, because the more vibrations we have to kind of add to that pool, the more good things that are going to happen for our company, for our customers, for our brand in general. So being someone who demonstrates good manners in the workplace is key. Not only for your own professional growth, but also the example that you're going to set for others. Some examples of things that you can do and should already be doing if you're not in the workplace. Again, we talked about this with the personal. It carries over into the professional side of things. You're going to want to introduce yourself to everybody, okay? Whether it be coworkers, vendors that might come in, obviously customers that will come through your place of business. And when in doubt, you want to introduce other people as well. Like if you're with a vendor, contractor, whatever, and you're not sure if that vendor or contractor has been acquainted with one of your coworkers, when in doubt, always introduce someone else. It's the right thing to do. Unless you already know they're acquainted, but it's just demonstrates good etiquette. It makes the people feel valued, and regardless of their status or their current position. Make the new guy welcome, right? You got a new guy who's probably pretty nervous, right? Yeah. It's a new job, new gig, whatever the case is. Make the new guy welcome. Go out of your way to introduce him or introduce yourself to him or her. Let them know, give them the A to Z, show them the ropes. Let them know that you're a resource. If they need some help, they need support, let them know that you'd be happy to point them in the right direction. I think that's a big deal. And I think that's something that a lot of people are sleeping on. Yeah. And maybe they're talking amongst themselves about the new guy, as opposed to going and introducing themselves to this person who might be really amazing, might be like a really awesome person, but of course, pretty overwhelming, pretty intimidating, a new work environment around a bunch of veterans. Yeah. Very, very easy way to just, again, be kind and do the right thing. Yep. as it relates to business or, personal, again, just I listed this under business, but shaking hands, okay? A handshake, a proper firm handshake where you're displaying eye contact, to me is still and always will be the gold standard of professionalism and just simply demonstrating class.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that we're limited to that because of the virus action, but
Well,
I still do it. To
I still,
everybody.
as do I, and I always will. I'm hugging my employees all the time. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. And that's something that I've actually thought about. And I don't really want to say the wrong thing right here and advise people like
Yeah.
not to conform, to do what you feel you should do and do what you think is best. But just understand the value, just the integrity that comes with a proper handshake. And I will tell you, I can normally tell a little bit about somebody, and I say a little bit. You could tell a lot about somebody by the way they introduce themselves and shake your hand.
I agree.
So yeah, this is something that you're going to want to work on, guys. A firm handshake. All right. Don't try to muscle. Don't try to hurt my hand.
Ready.
All right. Don't try to, no tough guy shit. Like just a firm handshake, solid eye contact, and just a proper introduction.
Yeah.
Again, goes a long way. Sometimes an introduction can be as brief as a handshake, sharing your name, perhaps a little bit about what you do, and then that might be it. So you don't want to make all of those things count collectively, so you make an impact and your presence, the way you conduct yourself, resonates with that other person. Dressing appropriately for work. Okay? Dress the part of success. Every workplace is different, right? We discussed this in depth in the episode Success Starts with Your Physical Appearance. There's all kinds of research on this, right? That show how we look, how we dress matters. Women who wear makeup to work get paid more than women who do not, okay? And it doesn't come as a surprise to me. Dress the part of success, because when you look good, you are good. When you look good, you feel good. When you look good, you radiate confidence. You just send out like a message that, you know what, I'm somebody who gets shit done, and I'm not here to fuck around. I'm here to kick ass and make shit happen. And dressing appropriately for work, again, differs depending on the industry you're in, depending on what the hell you do. My personal rule is to always dress one step above what's required. So whatever that looks like, okay? But neat, clean, organized. Look around what the average is in your workplace, okay? Do better than that.
Says a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
It says a lot. And I think people don't really think about that. I had a meeting earlier with a guy.
Definitely people don't think about it enough.
I think about it. I had a meeting earlier today with a guy. It came in, he was in here, he was in a suit, stood up, buttoned his jacket when he stood up, shake my hand, introduced himself. Again, I don't know that he could have made a better first impression, to be honest with you. And then the meeting, his presentation, his proposal was spot on. It coincided with his physical appearance. It coincided with his handshake and the way that he introduced himself. And that wasn't by coincidence.
Yeah.
So here's one that's going to sound interesting coming from me. Watch your language in the workplace. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay. Obviously, derogatory, rude, racial, religious, or any sort of offensive language is unacceptable. We know that, right? Depending on where you work, like our culture here, we swear a little bit. I swear a little bit, but I do it with tact. I do it with finesse. I don't sound like, like a piece of trailer trash who's just kind of popping off at the mouth. But there's a time and there's a place for it. Okay. Now, what people also need to consider, as far as the language that I'm referring to, that's not appropriate in the workplace, is slang. Like using slang, especially in written correspondence and emails, is something that every once in a while, like I'll come across. There's just no room for it. It's not professional. It doesn't speak to just someone who has high standards. Stay away from it. Like however you speak with your friends and the intimacy of your own groups or whatever is one thing, but in any sort of professional correspondence, in meetings, in any sort of formal discussion that pertains to the work, the mission, the things that need to be done within the business, it should be spoken upon in just the most professional manner possible. Of course, there's some exceptions to that. If you have a team like I do, if you've been around with a long time, sometimes those standards can be laxed, but you have to be mindful. Like if I'm speaking to my team and there's somebody who's kind of like new to the equation that might have been asked to join that meeting, I'm going to tweak my approach a little bit because I don't want to set a poor example for this person right out of the gate. It's like, we kind of have to earn that right to kind of be a little more lax and laid back. And the only way that happens is through time, repetition, consistency, and just experience. So, right. So with, emails, we're talking about slang and not sending slang terminology in emails. Double check your email before you hit send. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's something that I will tell you that has saved my ass multiple times. When I say saved my ass, it saved me from showing my ass. Because a lot of times, especially, when it comes to direct communication or there's some issue going on and going back and forth, there have been times where I perhaps started typing out my response or the initial email with a little more emotion within those paragraphs than what I believe to be the most professional or effective approach. Yeah. So this rule, I mean, multiple times, and not only do I double check before I send, there are times where I'm like, what time is it? It's like 10:30, 11:30, midnight, sometimes 2 a.m. I don't have to send this right now.
No, I do that too. I wait because you said your emotion will come out of it typically the next day.
Yeah. So like, let me, the tone of this, I'm pretty pissed right now. I'm not going to lie. I feel it. Let me look at this in the morning and see if I still want to, send it this way or just perhaps take a different approach. And again, sometimes, you might come across as just, or being, an asshole, like sometimes I perhaps would be, or sometimes you might just double check it and catch a typo or a misspelled word. And here's the thing, guys, check your emails for spelling and grammar errors. It is 2020. At this stage of technology with spell check being a thing, it is completely unacceptable to have a misspelled word or typo in any sort of professional correspondence.
Yes, and your text messages are even more importantly because the spell check will change some things as well.
Yeah. Again, anything professional communication related, you need to have pride in that because how you do one thing is how you do all things. We've said that a million times. We'll say it a million more because it's true and it's very relevant to a lot of the things that we discuss. We're talking about maintaining a consistent standard of greatness. Yes. And your professional correspondence says a lot about you. It says a lot about just how you think, how you operate, how much you're vested and care about the nature, the content of that email or what project. And especially if you're dealing with customers. If you're dealing with customers, I will tell you that just think about, put yourself in the customer role and you get an email from somebody who works for whatever company that you emailed and like they're cracking slang, misspelled words and typos. Is that going to make you feel like pumped up, excited, and just overly enthusiastic about doing business with this individual on the other end? No. You got to think about it from a different perspective. And I think when you do, that's when you really kind of, the light bulb goes off. You're like, oh, shit. I got to tighten some things up. Walking into somebody's office unannounced, don't do it. It is one of my personal pet peeves. And, it's something I have to check people on every once in a while. Mostly here, it's not an issue. Perhaps some new people have to get up to speed on things. But I mean, look, I own this building. Or excuse me, I don't own this building. I own this business. I own all the different extensions of the new offices, all these different things. I basically, if I wanted to, and I think nobody would have an issue with it, I can walk into people's offices unannounced without knocking, but I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't even think to do that. I knock, and I don't just knock and then open the door. I knock and I wait to be called in. It's just a way to basically show that you respect other people's time, other people's privacy, what other people have going on. And this is something I learned in the military, in boot camp. they basically train you, right out of the gate when you're going to an office or superior's office. You knock 3 times, and then you wait to be called in. And sometimes they'll call you in, sometimes they tell you to go away. But I just think it's good. It's good etiquette. It's good manners. It's a good way.
Good advice. Yeah.
It's just a good way to just not be a fucking asshole.
Right.
Sometimes people, like the other day, one of my newer guys walked into my office and didn't knock on the door. I was like, "Hey man, nice to see you." And like, I was like, "Hey, it's a good thing I wasn't in here like blowing lines off this table." I said, "That would have been a pretty awkward dynamic moving forward." And he laughed. And, but that was really my way of saying, "Hey, knock when you come in here." Yeah. And again, it's not just something that I want them to do for me. I want them to do that with each other. Yeah. So, communication, good communication. Okay. Communication is the number one most sought after skill in business. So a good way to demonstrate proper etiquette is to be a good communicator. Being a good communicator means you speak clearly, you speak thoroughly, you give people insights as needed. You keep people informed on appropriate items. Okay. If your team has something going on and they're relying on you to provide them certain information to do something that they have to do, you want to proactively keep them informed at all times. Communication was something that I really sucked at as a young man in the military, and through a very intense disciplinary, call it sequence of events, I learned why communication is really important, and it stuck with me. And with the work that I was doing, if you're not communicating properly, somebody could get killed. And I will never forget a day that this lesson was imposed upon me in probably, the most, it was a big deal for me as a kid. I mean, it made me feel extraordinarily inadequate, but the master diver, I mean, I was like 18 years old, and a master diver just came up out of the water and he chewed my fucking ass because of how I was on the comm, so he was in the water. I was on the comms, which basically, the walkie-talkie, as it were, that communicates with the divers. And I wasn't responding to some of the things that he was saying and telling him that I understood, because I just didn't really know. I didn't really know what to say or how to say it. And I was very nervous and overwhelmed and all that. But it basically taught me that people need to know what's going on, and they need to know that you know what's going on. So keep people informed on appropriate items. If you're given a task, if you're given a directive, you're given an order, when you complete that task, communicate that to your superior or anyone else that's involved that is on a need to know basis. Okay. Very simple thing to do.
It's also just to respond even to something that doesn't need a response, just to say,
everything needs a response.
I got that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or roger
everything,
that, whatever you want to say.
Yes. Everything needs a response. Yeah. And that was my bullet point here. If you're sent an email or a text message, even if it's a group email and a group text message, okay, confirm in the most professional manner that you can that you received and understood that correspondence. Okay. This stuff's important, man. Yeah, it's so important. And what I've seen a lot of times in group discussions, or I tell people, I told one of the new guys today who CC'd me on an email. I was like, "Hey brother, I know you're new." I was like, "Please do not CC me on correspondence like this." I said, "Here, we want to solve problems at the lowest level. And there's other people that you could have, and he didn't know, but he responded, completely understood, was really cool about it." But a lot of times what I see is when people send group emails, somebody always thinks that somebody else has got it, right? So if you're sent a group email or a group text and there's some directive on there, don't be the guy or girl that sits back and hopes somebody else will take care of it. Take responsibility over the situation. Take responsibility over the problem. Either say, "Hey, I got this. It'll be handled by X," or say, "Hey, just so we're clear, okay, everybody got this. I want to make sure everybody responds. Hey, Steve, will you be taking care of this part? And Mary, are you going to make sure this segment is handled?" Like, communication is so important. It's also probably, one of the most important, not only important skills, but important attributes and characteristics somebody can have as it pertains to a high standard of professional etiquette.
Agreed.
So Deadlines, right? If you're given a deadline and you realize due to whatever sequence of events that is most likely your fault, you realize that deadline can't be met. Okay. Inform your team well in advance.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not that hard. Inform your team well in advance, along with the simple action plan that you have in place and the new deadline, and keep them updated. Now that you've blown a deadline, it's important that you be even more proactive with communication, because it's going to show the people that are on your team or your superior that that really kind of bothers you a bit that you didn't meet the deadline. You realize that it's unacceptable. And now you're taking a higher level of initiative to get what needs to be done in the shortest amount of time possible.
Right.
And again, this one was important enough to be on both lists. Be on time. Okay. Be on time. Okay. If you're not on time habitually for work, you're a piece of shit. Let that resonate for a minute. Like, being on time is the easiest thing that you can do to demonstrate the fact that you're grateful for the opportunity that you have to earn income within the organization that you're in. It also shows, like, the people that you work with that, like, you actually care and value their time, because the fact is, if you're part of a organization that operates in a team capacity, and most companies do, you not being there when everybody else is going to set the team back.
Yeah.
So understand that punctuality in a professional capacity is a demonstration of self-respect. It's not good this isn't something that's like proper etiquette, or this is bare bones minimum. Yeah. Like, this is the minimum mandatory. Be on time. Yep. It's important. Preferably be early. Another thing in the military, being 15 minutes early is actually being on time. Mm-hmm. Being on time, by the way, is not rolling in at, you got to be at work at 9:00, 9:01 or 9:02 or 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Being on time is arriving a few minutes before that time. So you're there, you can, put your gear up, punch in, whatever, if you're an hourly employee. Be on time. It's important, okay? In meetings, in discussions, in trainings, okay? No phones. No phones. Some people like to, I like to take notes on my phone. Don't take notes on your phone, because the people that are in that meeting, the people who, the person who perhaps is holding the meeting, they don't know that you're doing that. Right. You know what I'm saying? They're probably just sitting there annoyed as shit.
He's on Facebook, the bastard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you're in a meeting, focus on the meeting and the discussion. All right. Don't take calls. Don't take text. Don't check email. Don't take notes in your phone. It's extremely disrespectful to the people in the meeting, the other attendees, not to mention just annoying, right? It also will probably make the meeting last a little longer, because everybody in it's going to keep losing their focus, like wondering what the hell you're doing. Or maybe other people will start to think, oh, well, he's on his phone, so maybe I can be on my phone. So don't be on your phone. I want to talk about, to take us home here, I want to talk about some examples of, again, what we discussed so far was primarily professional codes of conduct, if you will, with, your coworkers, your team. I want to talk about some specific examples of what a world-class etiquette and just a demonstration of professionalism with your customers look like. This is something that's very near and dear to me. The customer experience is probably the most important thing for us as a company at Nutrition Solutions, to just do everything we can to we want all of our customers to just basically be blown away with the level of service and the support that they receive, whether it's their first week, whether they call and they have an issue, whether they call and have a question, whether it's something that, again, like just any number of things, any time that we have an opportunity to engage with our customers, and, we have thousands every month, so it's impossible to assign a coach to every single person. I wish that we could, but every time that a customer calls in and has a problem, customer or potential customer, it's an opportunity to make an impact. Yeah. And some ways that, that you can do that, some ways that anybody can do that, is you're always going to want to speak to your customers and potential customers politely, give them the opportunity to express their needs, have them tell you a little bit about themselves. And again, you have to initiate that. You have to lead them down that path with the proper line of questioning. Okay. You shouldn't just be trying to jam product down their throat and try to, get to the part where they give you the credit card or whatever. Like, understand their needs so you're better able to help them and take care of them. Okay. This stuff goes a long way. And of course, you're going to want to say thank you early and often in that, in those interactions, and you're going to call them by their name. And how are you going to do that? You got to ask them for it, right? Like if you're on a phone call or you're in a retail capacity, a restaurant, whatever the case is, you're having a discussion with a customer, like ask them their name. Yeah. Ask them their name after you introduce yourself, and then call them by their name during that discussion. I'll tell you, you have a much higher probability of getting a sale and getting that person to actually trust you and want to do business with you if they like you.
Agreed.
So,
and if it's an upset customer, listen to them and try not to get offended and turn it around. Again, listen to them. That's what they want to be heard.
Don't apologize. Say thank you.
Yeah. They want to be heard. They want to be heard. So just listen to them.
They want to be heard, and they want you to make them feel better. Yep. And regardless, people tend to take things personal when customers call pissed off. The customer is calling the organization, not you, Dwayne. Like Dwayne's like thinks he's coming under personal attack. Right. No, Dwayne, you're the
representative.
You're the representative. You're the person that answered the phone or is responding to the email. But to that customer, you're the organization. You are the one that fucked up this order or dropped the ball with that. Drop your ego. Don't take it personal. Understand that this person just needs some support. They don't need you, fighting back and forth with them on the email because you got your little feelings hurt, because they're a little pissed off. Like they want you to make them feel better. They want you to, they want to feel important. They want to feel valued at this stage. If they're pissed off, they don't feel that way. And you have the responsibility to rectify that. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. Sending handwritten thank you cards, right? Welcoming customers to, I guess, the experience of doing business with your company. Very simple thing to do. It's nobody does it. I mean, there's a handful of companies on the planet that do it, but man, what a way to actually make somebody feel valued and make them, I suppose, reinforce the decision they made to do business with you.
I mean, I love how they write on the boxes that are going out to each individual. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
So yeah, so basically what you're referring to is every new client of ours gets a handwritten thank you card, basically saying, hey Rick, I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. We appreciate you more than words can possibly articulate. If there's anything we do to help you, or if there's anything we could do better, we'd love to hear your feedback. Please know we're here. Look forward to helping you crush your goals, whatever. But then every week, just because, that's what we call it, like just because the team is over there, writing just powerful messages, supportive messages to, our customers that have been around a while, just to let them know, hey, like, we got you. We're rooting for you. We're not just taking care of your diet and providing you the tools that you need to facilitate this outcome, which is accomplishing their goals. We're rooting them on. We're their cheerleaders, and we're also here if they need some support. If they have any questions, they need accountability, they need a kick in the ass. Like we'll do all that. So that's just the way to kind of like let them know that they mean more to us than just the weekly billing would suggest when they're billed every week. Like we're here for them, and we want them to know that. We want them to feel special. We want them to feel important. And look, like not only is that an awesome thing to do because it feels good to care about other people and to know that your care and your concern and your efforts and initiative are actually helping that person like do better and be better. Think about the impact that has on that person as far as they're being more inclined to discuss these things with the people they know, to tell people about this company. Not only do they have an amazing product that's helping me getting fit and healthy and well, and their food tastes good, it makes dieting not feel like dieting, but they actually sent me this handwritten thank you card. They did this box for me where they put all these pictures of my family and my goals, and we'll do that. Like we have different ways in which we acquire customers, right? The majority of people sign up online, and we try to get as much information from them as possible online, but you can't you can't ask for too much because then they get annoyed with the checkout process and they're just like, fuck it. But when they call in and they're talking to somebody, we want to know about if they have a family. We want to know about their job. We want to know what are their goals? Where are they at now? Where are they trying to go? What kind of training do they do, right? Do they do regular weights? Do they do cardio? Do they do CrossFit? Do they do yoga? And we put this information in our system. And, we hear, because of the rapport that we develop, people will share with us just stories, man, about some just significant hardships and adversity and struggles that they've gone through. And we take note of all this, and the team will communicate, and to really just blow that person's mind, we'll send them an order where they open the box and it's kind of like a vision board on there that will have some like supportive quotes that are consistent to what they're trying to do. We'll go stalk their social media and pull pictures of their family and put it on there. Anything like that. I mean, and social media has made that very easy, to do. Like, you can find out a lot about people. Like, if you have now, do we do that with every customer? Of course, no, we don't have the information to, but we want to, and we try to, and we do it as much as we can because we want our customers to know that they're important to us. And, from a culture standpoint, the more we look after our customers, the better results that they're going to get, period. But as it relates to any other business, like, the more you care about your customers, the more they're going to come back and do more business with you, the more people they're going to tell about your company.
Agreed.
You want word of mouth. People like, oh, word of mouth. Like, that is earned, not given. And it's earned through just massive, consistent action that people aren't just going to talk about and advertise your business for you. Like, they're busy with their own shit. But if you give them a reason to, if you give them something that they just can't keep to themselves and do something that just makes them feel, dude, that is, I mean, that's the best type of advertising that you can ever get.
Agreed.
So
everybody out there listening, if you use all these tips and strategies that we've told you about for the last hour, that's how you stand out.
That's it.
That's why people come back.
And honestly, I will tell you that a lot of the things that I've incorporated into my business were things that I've learned from other businesses and other industries. But I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to the show, a lot of young guys and girls that are starting up, some people that are seasoned. But one of the ways that I learned from these other companies and brought in elements that they've offered in their model is by literally like doing business with them. So if, anybody here, well, I don't want to turn this into a sales pitch for Nutrition Solutions, but if you want to get a better understanding of a proper way to essentially improve the customer experience with your business, both in an automated capacity as far as different correspondence that's sent out via email, and just, again, like the things that we're talking about, the handwritten thank you cards, the decorated boxes, like, you should sign up for Nutrition Solutions for 1 week and kind of get an understanding of what we do. And hopefully through that, you can incorporate elements in your business. I'll tell you, I've done the takeaways that I've gotten from other companies by doing what I just said, literally changed the composition and the direction of this business.
Sure.
It was extraordinary. I just wish I would have done it sooner than I did. Yeah. So a couple of things, phone call, like, dude, nobody calls these days. Everybody's sending automated this and that. Like, there's a place for automation, but as it relates to just demonstrating gratitude and appreciation, a phone call, I mean, nothing can really beat that. And here's the thing. So what we do is every new customer gets a call their first week. And it's just, again, hey, thank you. Welcome to the family. And there's a message they leave. Most people don't answer their phone. No. But if the person answers, like, then now we have an opportunity to talk to somebody, to have them learn a little bit about the humanistic aspect of it. Yeah. And we get to pull a little more information from them that maybe we don't have. Yeah. So we want to learn more about them. We document that. And if they have any questions, any insight, like, again, it's a new thing. It's a new journey for a lot of people. And sometimes they have questions, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just excited to talk to somebody. But either way, even if they don't call back, that voicemail means a lot. Yeah. They hear that, they're like, wow, like, I haven't even gotten my order yet, or I just got my order and these guys are already giving me a follow-up call. Nobody does that these days. Like, everybody's concerned about like the quick buck and the most efficient way to make it. And I will tell you, like, you're in a business, you should be concerned with making money, but sometimes the best way that we can actually make money and, create that just sustainable line of revenue is by doing things inefficiently. Very, very rarely. There's situations where, allocating time to do handwritten thank you cards and making phone calls to customers that you've already earned their business, that creates a lot of customer loyalty. It creates rapport. And again, it reinforces that customer's decision in their mind. Because everybody, when you buy something new, like typically there's like that, did I make the right decision and whatever, like that's going to reinforce the fact that they are doing business with the right people. And again, it's an opportunity for you to distinguish yourself from everybody else and separate yourself from the competition. Following up, like you got to follow up, man. Like most people don't. And it's sad because the magic happens in the follow-up. Again, I think most people are just concerned with getting that immediate sale and then just moving on, whatever. Like people take note of that. People take note about a company or a business that they give their business to. And once, that they do say everything they need to say to get them. And then once they get the credit card, these people are forgotten about. It's like people remember that shit. And that's not really an effective strategy for repeat business and developing a long-term relationship and basically turning this customer, this one-time customer, into a lifelong advocate. So follow up with people, make people feel valued. If people are coming into your business, regardless if it's, again, a vendor, a contractor, a customer, speak to them like a pro, speak to them in a manner that shows them that you give a shit and just do what you can to be the best version of you and make the best impact. So when they walk away from that situation, they're like, damn, that was pretty cool. And matter of fact, that was so cool and just out there and just something that I really just haven't ever experienced. That I'm gonna tell so-and-so about it. That's how you grow a business. And that's how you create a reputation of, being a company that people want to f with.
Agreed.
So yeah. And then the last thing that I had here is, creating and sending like a thoughtful video or like an audio message on a special occasion, or just because, like I mentioned, periodically checking in with customers that, you haven't heard from a while, that, perhaps bought something from you at one point or did business with you. Like it not only is the right thing to do and shows that you're a good person who gives a shit, it's also a way to kind of poke them a little bit and remind them that you exist. People are so busy. Everybody has so much stuff going on. We would always like to think that, because we did a good job that one time, that necessarily earns us unequivocally the right to that person's business and everybody else that they know in the future, because we handled them well during that transaction period or that one interaction. That is not the way this world works. The fact is, everybody's busy with their own stuff, and we have a responsibility in business to kind of to stay relevant, to keep people just informed and aware, and just to let them know that we're thinking about them. Because the more that we let them know we're thinking about them, the higher the probability that when the time comes, they'll be thinking about us.
Agreed. It's so funny because you told me what we were going to do earlier, and I thought, okay, that's cool. But man, I really needed to hear all this today. I think a lot of us do over and over again, because we just kind of forget these little things that are so important. And like you said, they're free, but if you implement these things, it's just amazing how much farther in life you get ahead.
These
really
little
is.
things, they
important.
lay the path and reveal the path to the big things.
Yeah.
Because without the little things, like you have no business concerning yourself with thinking about big things, because it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to dominate the little things. You have to become a master of all these small details, and you have to do them over and over and over again. And literally be okay with boredom, be okay with just doing the same thing over and over again, because it's through that process that mastery is achieved.
Yeah.
So you got to be consistent with it. And again, I appreciate you saying that. When I was creating this outline, there was things that I was thinking about, and as I'm writing, it's like, yeah, I'm doing that pretty good. Like, shit, I need to do much better on that. So for me, going over this, I mean, guys, when I'm over here sharing the information that we share, and we're doing our best to educate you and help you move forward, these are things we're talking to ourselves as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always things that could be done better. And there's just levels to everything. Although I guess I would be considered the authority and the educator in this situation, please know and understand that everything that we talked about today are things that I will continue to work hard to improve on as well. So we're in this together. We're putting in the work to better ourselves, and we are and forever will be a work in progress.
Agreed.
Cool. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Leave us a review, please. And don't dismiss this part. Okay. If you haven't left us a review, leave us a review. I mean, it's a very simple thing to do.
It's proper etiquette.
Yeah. Hey man, I didn't even think about that. Thank you for jumping in there with that. Yeah, guys. I mean, it honestly is. It is proper etiquette and good manners. The issue is most people don't think of to do it because they don't recognize the importance of it. But we do this for free. This costs me money to do this podcast. I don't have any sponsors. I've literally turned down sponsorships opportunities all the time for this because I want to keep it organic for now. I feel that we got a pretty good thing, going here, and I invest in this to help you guys. And I feel it's not asking too much to ask if you guys could just go leave us a review on iTunes. And we appreciate you guys leaving 5 stars, but I will tell you what really means a lot and just makes us feel good. We talked about the importance of making people feel good is sharing your testimonials, sharing the takeaways that you've gotten and the impact that it's had on your life. And if you go through some of the reviews there on iTunes, there's some pretty amazing ones on there, guys. So love hearing from you. But please know that not only does it just make us feel good, it helps us with the podcast attract new listeners, new like-minded individuals who are on the same mission as us. And that's to step things up and to just do what we can to experience success at the absolute highest level and just keep improving our quality of life. So your reviews help us get more people into this movement and to basically help get them on the path and step their games up as well. But yeah, that's it. Guys, hope you enjoyed the episode. Go leave us a review. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time and listening. And yeah, we'll be back with you soon. Have a good week, guys. Later.